What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Landon Halloween channel. We got an unboxing and repair. I just got this off eBay. It just came about 20 minutes ago, maybe. And this is a very cool animatronic, very rare. This prop was considered a lost prop for a while. So when I saw one on eBay, I knew this might be one of the only chances I have to get it. So I went ahead and bought it. And this animatronic is in very bad condition. It's from 2010 or 2011. And it has a latex face and hands, which have not lasted. But I knew that going into this. But this is such a rare prop that I figured hopefully I'll be able to fix it. I've done quite a few, let's say, latex repairs, like trying to keep them looking good so I can use them for Halloween, and hoping I can do that to this one. This is a very cool prop. So I think I paid around, with shipping, around $250 for it, which for a prop this condition you might be like, that's a little much, but she's so rare that I was fine paying that. Seller, nice little card. Seller was great. He communicated, he sent me more pictures of the condition, so I'm pretty sure I know the condition this is in. Let me bring this over a bit. And you guys probably know what this is by the title of the video, but this is the Pitini Enterprises Butchers Wife animatronic. Can start to see her hands there. The hands are in pretty rough condition. That's the worst part. There's a few bits on the face too, actually quite a few bits on the face, and it's kind of falling over, so we'll have to see what that's like. But go ahead and pull her out of the box here. And there she is. Look at that. Pitini Enterprises Butchers Wife. Okay, so I went ahead and got all the bubble wrap and everything off of her. And you can see the condition that she's in. And she's actually not as bad as latex condition isn't as bad as I was expecting. So you can see it's actually quite soft. There's obviously a big crack there, but it's mostly soft, so hopefully I can patch that up. And I'm not sure, the mouth feels pretty good. I'm not sure if it's supposed to move or not. I've seen a couple things say that she has a moving mouth, but the few videos of her that are online don't have a moving mouth, at least not that I've seen, or if it's not working. So we're gonna find that out. She has turning body turn, which the seller did say I don't think that works, but she does make sound, so we'll hopefully get that working. Here's the hands. This hand's in decent shape. You can see there's big rip down here and a smaller one there. But for the most part, the heart and the main hand is still in decent shape. This is popped out, but still soft, so hopefully I can pop that out. And this hand is way worse. But you can see that it's like so barely connected, but it's definitely falling off this hand. It's barely holding up. But the actual fingers and the main hand is mostly still intact. It's just mainly around this wrist. So I'll probably end up cutting it off and trying to reform most of this wrist, put some better wires through it probably. But I'll probably do that after everything, because that's gonna be the most annoying. It does still have the try me button, which is nice. I haven't turned this on or anything yet, so I haven't actually seen it, what it does right now. The hair is pretty messy, but it's not terrible. It can be cleaned up. And she's very much of a hunch. She's hunched over, kind of. I don't know if that's... because I do see it's kind of ripping here. So I'll have to reglue it there, and can't tell if it has like a spring in it, like bite size, because it's kind of like a similar, it's the very classic, like Morbid used this on a lot of things, and SVI on bite size. It's kind of one of these kneeling props. It's smaller than I expected, but definitely very cool. Let's see, I don't know if it has batteries in there or not. This is the bottom of the base. Here's the battery compartment. And it does have batteries, so we'll go ahead and turn it on and see if what she does. See, I think I have to flip the switch.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
Well, there we go. She works.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
That's so cool. And yeah, I hear the motor, I think it's in the mouth, so I think the mouth does have mouth movement. So we'll try and get that working. I don't know about the body turn.
Red, violets are blue,
Turn her off.
and I've got something bloody for you.
Okay. Very cool prop. So, I think that about does it for the unboxing. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the repair in the same video, but if I do, we will get to that. And yeah, there's also a little rip there. But we will see what we can do. I went ahead and started taking her apart. We got the hands off. I ended up just taking it off the wire arms completely with this whole foam, because it is glued up here on both hands, so I don't really want to deal with trying to peel that off of here when it's all dry rotted. So I mean, this isn't terrible, and this is still soft, so I popped that back out because that was popped in. This one is actually in really good shape, just right here and up there a little bit, and right there are the parts I'm gonna have to fix up. This one's in, I already showed these, but yeah, this one's a little worse. But you can see here, I have started pulling up the clothes, and you see this is quite dented in, so I might try and figure out a way to get that pulled out. But I'm looking at the body turn right now. The motor isn't running. I activated it a few times. The motor isn't spinning, so the wires are still on there. I'll show you. I'm gonna peel this off. Well, actually, I can get this strip. I'm going to take off that screw there. so then I can access this a little bit easier, but this is already unglued. So that's the body mech, body turn. There is the motor, and that's not spinning at all. There could be a wire off somewhere, but I'm thinking that it's probably just locked up. So yeah, I'm gonna take this off and we'll see where we're at. Okay, I want to show you this. I went ahead and got it off of here, took this piece off that is what connects to there and makes it turn. And I started taking the mech out, but you can actually see, it's kind of weird. There is longer screw holders there, and then these two. And they're actually, it's like bent down, like this is straight, and that's how it's connected. So that's might be contributing to why it's so hunched over, which it seems to be, that's how they intended it for it to be, but it's kind of weird to me. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take out these two screws and start opening up the gearbox. In a second, I'm going to put the multimeter on here, make sure the motor's getting power, because you can see the board's in there. Hoping that's not the case, but it'd be real easy if it's just a locked up motor. Seems like there's something either split or missing teeth on some of the gears in there, because that's just kind of, I don't know. We'll open this up, see how this mech is, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so here's the mech out. And yeah, here you can see the angle thing I was talking about. But I got these screws out of the mech, so I'm about to pop this off. You can see here's the square shaft for the turning, and then there's a second one that hits the relays. I guess this is center, probably left and right, or right and left, I don't know. But, and this is the arms that's connected to. I might take that off in a second, it's gonna get kind of annoying. But, I can take this off here. I don't want to pull these wires. Okay, there we go. This is the mech. You can see, looks like this one is what hits that, because that goes in that big hole right there. And the one screw that didn't make it out. Don't want to lose that as I drop it on the floor. Okay, well, I'll find that in a second. But yeah, here's the actual mech. It looks like these gears are actually in decent shape. This was a little loose, that's probably why it was kind of clicking. Is that tin tooth? Don't know, it looks split. I think that's tin tooth. Probably replace it anyways, but we'll see. Hopefully this motor's just locked up. Yeah, the gears are actually in really good shape. I don't see any. I'll take them all out and check them out, but I don't see any broken, missing teeth or anything. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play around with this motor, test for voltage, see if I can get it working. But that's what the mechanism looks like, so we'll see if I can get this running. Okay, this is about maybe a minute later. I just spun this around a few times and it started going. It's definitely split though, because it was just moving along the shaft, but I'll show you.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
Okay, well, it was working.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
There we go. Okay. See, it's not on the relay, so it's going crazy.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
Okay, well. That's really weird. It's only moving sometimes, so I'm going to check the voltage on this, see if it's getting power when it's supposed to, but also I'll try cleaning this motor, might put a fresh one in. We'll see. So yeah, I'm gonna play around with this a little more, see if I can get it to actually work how it's supposed to. Okay, so I think it's leaning more towards being a bad component. I have these alligator clips on here so I can show you while I record it, but I got plugged up to the wires for the motor, and it only seems to be turning or giving power to the motor one way. So I've been playing around. I've been manually turning the gear here to hit the relays, and it doesn't want to turn to hit this one, but as soon as I hit the other one, it spins. So, and you can see it's only getting power. So if I activate her,
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
I hit the relay, and it spins to turn the other way until I hit the relay again. So, it seems like since it's a two-way motor, it probably has, I don't know, I'll have to check out this board. See, it seems like a newer one, so there might be surface mount, which I've done before, but it's definitely not fun. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna start taking this apart further to get into the board right here, and I will show you once I do that. Okay, so here I got the kind of leg up here and got the board exposed. You can see it's actually kind of weird. There's a spot here for the chip, but it's just that, which is kind of funny. But so these are the two motor wires here, orange and gray, and I believe it's kind of hard to see right now, but I think these transistors are for the mouth and head. I will follow these traces, see which one's for the head, but I think that one of these are the most likely culprit. The board is kind of dirty too. I'll probably clean that up a little bit, but I'm gonna peel up some of this hot glue, see where these go, and test some of these transistors here and see what we're working with, and hopefully I can just get those replaced, and it will hopefully start working. So I'm gonna play around with it a little bit and we'll see. Okay, so here we are about 30 minutes later, and I got it working. I had to replace one component. I did most of the board work off camera because I don't really like doing board work, and it makes it even harder when I have to film every little thing. So I went ahead and did that off camera, but I'll show you what was the issue. So I took my multimeter here and I was testing around these components, and this was the culprit. It was, let's see if I can zoom in on this. Okay, well, there we go. This SS8550. And I'll show you. Here's a fresh one, like I put in there. I just have a pack of components here. Okay, so it's kind of a weird angle here, but this is the best way I could do it. So here's the good one on the left, and with this one, let's see, I think it's black. Okay, so here, if we take the multimeter and you put it black in the middle, you should be getting around 800 on each side. Let's see if I flip my colors here. There we go. 795, around 800. And then, sorry, this is a really weird angle. This is the one that was in there. And you can see if I take it this side, we're getting about 800. But if we flip it here and I go on this side, it's getting like in the thousands. We got 1,120, which indicates that this component had gone bad. So I replaced it with one of these. You can see I haven't cut the wires yet, but that is the new one. I got it in there. And while I was doing this, a couple wires pulled off, got those resoldered. So I'll cut these off, but as far as I was already playing around with it a little bit, and it seems to be working good. This is in resting position. And if I activate her,
Roses are red.
the motor starts turning. And the gear was split, so I went ahead and took it off. That's why it's not moving right now. I was playing around turning this by hand, and it spins both ways now, the motor does, so we are all good to go. And you can see I'll show you what I'm putting it on. This is the split one, and that's the fresh one that I will put on there. So I'm gonna put this board back in place, cut these off, and I'll show you putting a new gear in here, and hopefully that should get her body turning. Okay, so I got the board back in place, put some new hot glue around these wires so they shouldn't pull up. And yeah, here's the old gear, which I don't know if you can, there's no obvious split in it, but it slid around very easily, so it was obviously split. And there's a fresh one. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back on here, and we will do a test. Okay, I got this all put back together. I just put one screw in here to hold it, but I put this on so you can see it turning. And fuck, I did something else. Oh, I just put some fresh where's the motor? Some fresh glue on the motor, so those wires shouldn't pull off. But here we go.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
You can see it's working perfectly. It's a little loud. I might go back in there and put some Vaseline on the gears to hopefully kind of quiet that down, but I'm just happy it's working. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put some grease in there, put the rest of the screws in, and I think after that I can start with the head and the mouth. So I'm gonna do all that, and I will show you. Probably the next thing you'll see is me working on taking this head off. So, okay, also I realized, I went ahead and put some grease in here, but it's still pretty loud, but think that's just gonna have to be it is what it is. But also, I remembered I had to re-center this because I realized it was off from the relay. So I re-centered that with the gears. So now when it's hitting that middle relay, it stays centered. So that's important. Yeah, okay, now I'm gonna put the rest of the screws in here and we'll work on the mouth. Okay, so I'd put this back on the pole and I was testing it, and it was the motor was working fine, but this wasn't turning. It was supposed to. It was turning here, but it was skipping here every so often. And I was like, what could that be? The teeth were fine. And so I went in here, and this is what this gear goes into, and it is about ready to break off. And it's supposed to be molded to this. So I'm probably going to have to epoxy that. So it's not exactly what I wanted, but that's why this was free spinning at the beginning. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and probably use epoxy to hold that in place, and yeah. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the wires to the mouth and eyes so I could move this from the body, which I didn't love doing, but it's gonna make my life easier. And you can see tons of epoxy piled on there, so we're gonna let that dry for a while, and we're gonna work on this. So to get the head off, I'm gonna peel it around here, and it's actually already, I mean, you can see it's cracking down here a little bit, so I have to be careful, but back here, it's already mostly off the plastic shell. It's just up front, I'm gonna have to, I think it's still a little glued. There's a couple staples, so I'll pull those out, and we will get this mask off and start working on the mouth mech. And then while that's off, while the head's off, that's when I'll start fixing up all these rips and cracks. Okay, so I got it off the main body. I want to show this because it's kind of interesting. It says Morbid Far East, which I'm assuming is because this prop, a lot of Pitini Enterprises stuff, was actually made in the same factory as Morbid stuff, I believe. So I'm guessing that's why it's on there. It's probably using similar parts to some Morbid props. Also, I believe the owner of Pitini Enterprises, I'm pretty sure, is way out of business. But the owner who started it, I think, used to work at Morbid. So probably uses a lot of the same stuff. And I mean, you can tell that by the base. It's very similar to a Morbid prop. But next, so this is already unglued. This is just the piece that holds all the, or like the mouth mech and stuff. You can see if it had head turn, that's why it's two separate parts. A piece would go in here. That's used on like, who's that used on? Hex and all the ones with turning heads. Obviously this one doesn't have that. But I'm going to take out these 4 screws to undo the mouth mech, and we'll pull this off, pull out the mouth mech, see what is the issue. Okay, I got that off, and right away I can see, well, this one is just split in half, and this one is split at the square shaft. So that's obviously what's causing it to not work. You can see this actually built pretty well. It also has a plastic piece connected that goes up here on the top, so then it doesn't bob the head too much. I'm not sure how well this mouth is going to move because it's a little rotted, but it should hopefully move. I should I don't know if it probably has lower jaw movement. Might work better with upper, but we'll see. I'm gonna have to trying to figure out a way to pull this out. I don't want to take these out because they're glued in, but I might take out some of the screws for this top piece and pull out the rest of the mech. Okay, so I got the main mech out. I just unscrewed the 2 screws down there, and I'm gonna go into this to make. I'll probably replace the whatever, probably 10 tooth in there, just because I don't want to have to go back into this thing. And looking at the spring, it looks like it has upper jaw movement. Or no, so I'm sorry. I mean lower jaw movement. And now I'm going to undo the screws there, get these plastic bits off, and start modeling up some new ones. Also, I just want to point out, what is this soldering job? This is horrible. This is factory. So, probably fix that up. But here is the pieces out. I don't know where the end of this one is, but we can see this one. I'll take the screw out in a minute. This is the full pieces. So, that's what screws into the thing, and then a plastic piece goes through this so it stays in place. And there's the square shaft with a foam ball in it, because this was just floating around in the head, so you can see it broke right, if I can hold it, right on that random circle. This front one is used to keep in place, but the other 2 are unnecessary, and that's what caused it to snap. So, and this one snapped on the square shaft. So, I'm going to start modeling those up and get some new ones 3D printed. Okay, I got the new mouthpieces printing, so while it's doing that, I'm putting a new motor shaft gear on. And the old one was splitting. There's splitting it, but it wasn't too bad, but I'm going ahead and replacing it because I'm not going back into this thing anytime soon. So you just pop this on here. I'll push it down a little further, but there we go. Brand new 10 tooth. Okay, so here are the 2 new 3D printed mouth levers, and I'm pretty close. These are the original ones over here. Be flipped, but pretty similar, and it slides on here nice and tight. So that's good. Yeah, got new gear in here, and then also I put a wire up in here, and right now you might think it looks a little worse, just because, you know, you can see that very bad. That also a little bit more came off. That I might put that back on, I might not, I'm not sure, once I patch it. But what it did was it kind of widened out the face a little bit, and once I patch this up, I'll get that closer, and I think that'll look a lot better, so her face isn't all squished in. So yeah, that definitely helped. And now I'm gonna put this back in here, connect it back up to that mouthpiece, and hopefully the mouth should move. Again, I'm not sure how much it's gonna move, but because it's pretty thick latex, and that combined with a bit of rot, it's not terrible around the mouth, but it's definitely not like it originally was, so we'll see. But I'll go ahead and get this back in here and I'll wire it back up to the body to see how it moves. So, see you then. Okay, so I got this piece back on. I got the mouth reconnected in there. But I want to show you, this is pretty weird. This is at an angle here where the mouth mech screws on. So the mouth mech is at an angle. Or this piece is at an angle. So I don't know if that's meant to angle the mouth or once the head is on to angle the head sideways. But it's really weird and it's causing it to not sit in here well. Which I don't know why. It was sitting in there nicely before because these were snapped. And I think that might also be an issue that caused those to snap. Because this is in the middle instead of further back. So it's sitting on here like this. And doesn't really want to go around the head. So, considering somehow modding this to one not being at an angle and one be further back. So, I mean, it'd be fine if it was angled either like forward or back, but since it's angled sideways, that's weird. Because if it was angled forward or back, I could probably somehow adjust this down there to, you know, correct that angle. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up doing that. I might twist this piece like this. So instead of like this, I'll twist it. What's that, 90 degrees? And drill these holes, drill some new holes, which I don't like doing, but I think that's the best way to do it because these are pretty far back. Okay, I'm gonna play around with it a bit and I will show you guys whatever I end up doing. Okay, so here's what I ended up doing. I drilled some new holes for the screws and I put them in, which I don't love doing because I try and keep everything as original as possible, but in this case I think that it just wasn't a good design and I think this is just a lot better. Obviously it's still an angle, which is a little weird, but this will go on here good, the front. So while I'm fixing the latex, I might extend this back a little longer so that it can reach better, or I can just push this in a little bit. But it's way better than it was the other way, so I'm happy with this. So I don't think I'm attached to this yet because I want to fix the face while it's not attached to the rest of this body. But I will temporarily attach these wires to the rest of the body to see how the mouth is moving, see how much it actually ends up moving, and I think it's about time to put this back together. This epoxy is very dry. So yeah, I'll put this back together, attach the head, and we will see how it's working. Okay, so here we go. I got the head wired up. Obviously this is just very temporary. I just twisted the wires together and put some tape around it just so they wouldn't touch each other and mess anything up. But I got the body turning mech back in place, and here she is.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
Very cool. And you can see the mouth isn't, you know, the best mouth movement ever, but it's definitely better than I thought. You can tell it's not super obvious, but you can tell it's moving, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, the body is fully working, so I think the next step is to start fixing this latex. And obviously re-glue this leg. But yeah, once I fix up the latex, then I can actually start putting it back together. But yeah, I guess the next step is doing this latex, so. Okay, so here you can kind of see what I've started doing is using this rubber cement and these blue shop towels, and I have started covering up the cracks and forming a new just forming it where the holes were. I'm going to do another layer here. It's best to rip them up. This is a common thing that there's a lot of videos on this. I know like Apache Halloween used to do it, and there's a couple videos on YouTube, but if you want to do this, go watch their videos. Are a bit more detailed. It's just a way to prevent, I mean, it's not preventing rot, but it's a way to cover the cracks of your existing props. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll show you when it's done. I have to do a little bit more up there, and then yeah, I'm gonna do another piece right here because this is kind of thin. But after that, this hand's about done, and then I'll get on the face, and then I'll start the other hand. Okay, I think this is my final latex touch-up. This is the after. I think it's turned out decent. This hand is pretty good because this is probably the best looking one out of all of them, or like the one with the least damage. I think once it's painted, it'll look fine. This other hand isn't perfect, but I think it turned out well enough because I really had to rebuild the wrist on this one. Luckily the main hand was still in decent shape, but kind of reformed around the finger and around the thumb and the whole wrist. But I think that turned out okay. And then here is the face, which I think for the most part is pretty good. I think the only thing is this is kind of, I don't know what angle you can tell from, but you can see it's kind of at a point here on the forehead, which I don't love. But there wasn't a whole lot I could do about that. But I think once I'll try to clean up this wig a bit. Once the bangs are kind of down, it won't be too noticeable. Yeah, patched up pretty well. There's a big gap above the nose there, so that's been covered up with the eye, all around the lip. I have a few places down here. I didn't love having to do that because that might make the mouth a bit harder to move, but I think it'll be fine. And then here you can see I had to kind of build up this neck, especially around the back because it didn't reach. But I think that'll be good. It won't be too noticeable, so because it's on the back, the hair will cover it. I just kind of fixed up around the neck, and the collar comes up a decent amount. So this was just kind of for strength purposes. And while I was doing that, as I was doing it, I glued it to the plastic piece here, and it actually sits pretty nice when it's sig flat. it's about level. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm glad that I didn't leave it sideways. I think this was the better option. But yeah, that is all the touched up paint. That's just as a guess from the mold. I might touch that up when I'm doing it. But yeah, there is all the latex fixed. Now the next part is just to paint all of it. Try and match it as well as I can. I have to redo the blood here, but luckily I took videos before, and there's a few videos of her online that I can use, and pictures that I can use to match the original paint. But hopefully we'll get it looking presentable. And she'll probably, like in Halloween stuff, she'll be in the dark, so I figure it's not a huge issue. So I'm just happy that she is patched up. Okay, so I started painting. I have done a base color over most of the blue parts because you really have to do a couple base coats to hide the blue because it is much darker. You can see it's a pretty good color. Definitely not a perfect match yet, but this is just the first color to hide the blue, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Here's this hand. And I'm letting it dry a little bit, and you can see the blue is still very much bleeding through. So I'm gonna have to do a couple more layers of this base paint. I just used these 3 colors. And I got a color that was close enough to start with. Add a little water, and yeah. So I will see you when I paint a little bit more. Okay, so here's a kind of discovery I made when I was just messing around with this. This pole was actually pushed in. So, oh, I didn't do that. But it was down like this, which is significantly shorter than, oh, this is unscrewed, so. Than the full height it's supposed to be. So, that's really cool. Because she did feel kind of short, and I thought that was just how she was made, but no, she's shrunken down. She has a extending pole. That's kind of like what, I know some techie items use that, there's some old morbid ones, like the, Walking Dead girl kind of has these kind of poles, but, so that's cool. Also, right now it looks weird because the arms are facing backwards, but I will bend the arms forward, and I'm flipping around this mech. This is how it was. I'm flipping around this way, so then the higher pieces that connect to this, instead of angling this forward, will angle it slightly. It's not very much, but it'll angle it slightly backwards, so then the head looks up more. And since it's just on this, it doesn't change the way it moves at all. It'll still go back and forth like normal. And then I'll just bend the arms forward once it's time to put the outfit on. And it'll be good to do. This I can keep the same way because all these are the same height. So yeah, that'll be perfect. So I think the body is about ready to be put back together. I'll start gluing this up and put the screws back on because that's what I took off to get to the board. and screw all this back in place, and the body will be about done. Okay, so here we are with the finished paint job. I didn't take too many videos throughout painting it, just because I'm not a great painter or very good at color matching, but I think it turned out alright. You can see, it's not horrible. I think up here is probably the most obvious spot. Probably could have done a little bit more there, but I'm hoping it will get covered by the bangs a little bit and won't be so obvious. Right here, down here, and then the neck. I didn't worry about the neck too much. I did a little bit, but I mean, I painted the whole thing with a base color, but I didn't work too hard on this because it should mostly get covered up by the color. So I also did the lips a little bit, but I'm happy with how it turned out. I just don't think it'll be too obvious in the dark, and if you don't really know what she's supposed to look like. But I feel like I replicated it pretty well. Here's the knife hand, which I really dirtied up a little bit. Hopefully once the sleeve is on, it'll be a little less obvious, but there was no wrist before, no wrist left, so I'm just glad it is holding the knife well. It's sturdy and, you know, it looks decent. And this hand turned out pretty well, I think. The heart hand, I matched up the blood pretty well. Got the exact pattern, so I'm happy about that. It's not very obvious that, I mean, if you didn't know that there was a big rip in it before, you wouldn't be able to tell by first glance that it's been repaired. So, I'm satisfied. But now it is time to start putting her back together. And I also took the shoulder frame here and I heated it up and kind of got it back into place, and I glued a metal wire in there just to straighten this out because this was bent right here and this side is falling in. So I want to keep the shoulders straight. So okay, so I said it was time to put it back together. I lied. I realized I had forgotten to put in 2 screws for it's a mouth. It goes on the top of the mouth, and it also connects to the pole that goes up into the top of the head. And it connects by 2 screws to the main mouth mag. And I forgot to put those in. So I had to take out these screws completely, take off this, what I had just fixed, I peeled everything off. Ooh, re-glue that. But I got it, and I ended up flipping this because before this was towards the back, but it didn't sit right anymore. So I flipped it. It still sits head pretty level when it is flat, so that's nice. But that means I'm going to have to adjust this because the screw holes don't line up anymore. In the front is these 2 and one's in the back, and no matter which way I have this, it would be crooked. So I'm going to take out the staples on this and spin this around, and I really just have to spin it that much, and I might try and get the staples back in, or I might just glue it in place. But yeah, and we're having to take this off and re-glue it It didn't mess up the paint too much, but there's now a fold there. I kind of see the blue. I might fix that and a crease there, but it's not too bad. Because most of that will get covered by the color. But it didn't really mess up the paint anywhere else, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I'll adjust this, and then hopefully we will actually be about ready to put her back together. Okay, turns out I didn't have to take that off. It sits pretty good with this backwards. So there it is, connected to the shoulder frame. So I'll have to slide the shirt back on, and then we will start connecting it to the rest of the body. Okay, well here she is, all put back together, and I didn't film too much of putting her back together, just for the reason that, one, it wasn't that, like, there wasn't much to show. It was kind of just the exact same thing I did to take her apart, just putting her back together. Just put the head on, put the shirt on, restart the wires. I glued up the back piece of foam, and I slid the arms on. Also just wanted to get it done, so. But I'm really happy with how she turned out. I think she looks great. And you see the arm, I don't know how I want to pose them yet. That's just kind of how they slid on. But I kind of like it to the side. I think it looks good. She's kind of like pointing at the heart that she is holding, that she's like just ripped out. But I think all the latex repairs I did turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the final result. I am glad that she's more looking up now, because she was very like hunched over and you couldn't really see her face, so I think this is much better. And also that she is taller, because when I first got her I didn't realize that she was shrunk down. So, but yeah, this was a complete restoration pretty much, but I think she turned out great, because this is just such a rare item to see nowadays. So I am very glad to have her in my possession. Never thought that I would acquire one of these, but I think now it works great. The hair kind of just, once I put the head back on, it kind of just straightened itself out, so I'm kind of happy with that, because I felt like it was pretty frizzy when I got her, but it's just kind of, I didn't have to do much to it. The only complaint I have is the body turn mech is still a little noisy, which I don't love. I might go into there eventually and try and make that a little less loud, but it's not terrible. I'm not too worried about that. I'm just glad it moves and everything works. The mouth works pretty well, for considering that it is dry rotted and it's pretty thick latex, so I'm sure it didn't move much originally, but I'm happy with how it works. Yeah, there's not a whole ton to say about here. I'll do some close-ups here. Here's the face. You can see if some of the spots I have to touch up. But from a distance, I feel like it looks pretty good. Here's the knife hand. I didn't re-glue these sleeves, so I could kind of roll them up a little or keep them there. And then, yeah, the arm can just kind of twist, so I haven't fully decided how I want it yet, but I'm kind of just leaving it like that for now. Here's the heart hand. She got a sensor down here. She has a 3-way switch for completely off, try me, and motion sensor. She also has a sound sensor, which is nice because these light sensors are horrible. The old ones that they used to use, they don't work unless if there is a direct light going into it that you have to like cross. Otherwise, it will never get activated. Yeah, the hair looks pretty nice. Here's the collar. You can see it goes up pretty high. There's that. I re-glued it here so you don't really see the legs too much. But yeah, that's about it for her. So I'm going to go ahead and activate her.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
So there you have it. The 2010 or 11 Pitini Enterprises Butchers Wife, fully restored.
Roses are red, violets are blue, and I've got something bloody for you.
There we have it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.